Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Oldham County Fiscal Court. I'm Judge Executive David Vogel. Happy to have you here today on the second day of October. Beautiful day in LaGrange, Kentucky, and Oldham County. Let's now stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Magistrate Likens.
Here.
Magistrate Tice.
Here.
Magistrate Leslie. Magistrate Greenwell.
Here.
Magistrate Hounds.
Here.
Magistrate Eldridge. Magistrate Dye.
Here.
Magistrate Logsdon.
Here.
Judge Vogel.
Here. Having 7 of the 9 members of the Fiscal Court present, along with our county attorney, this meeting is now in session. Is there a motion to accept the agenda?
Second.
Any additions? Under the Code Enforcement Board, we have Stephen Moss for reappointment. I'd like to add a second name for appointment to the Code Board along with Mr. Moss, and that'd be Jeff Poole. Hearing no other comments, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right, now we'll, if you happen to bring a cell phone with you today, if you could turn it off or vibrate, we'd appreciate that. Now I'll ask Ms. Fair to please read the minutes from our last meeting.
September 18th, 2018. The Oldham County Fiscal Court convened at a regular meeting at 2 p.m. with Judge Executive David Vogel, Assistant County Attorney Tate Combs, and the following magistrates in attendance: Brent Likens, Wayne Tice, Bob Leslie, Steve Greenwell, Chris Hounds, Kevin Eldridge, Bob Dye, and Michael Logsdon. Motion made by Magistrate Dye and seconded by Magistrate Eldridge to approve the agenda, adding Veterans Memorial Park presentation, erosion control bond reduction for Grand Oak Section 4, and Safety Committee report. Motion carried unanimously. The meeting minutes of September 4th were read and approved unanimously. Public comment. Becky Zocklin stated annual shredding event went well thanks to Paper Predator and the Fair Board. Household hazardous waste collection event is October 20th. Veterans Memorial Park presentation. Don Helton, Board Chairman of Veterans Memorial Park of Kentucky, shared photos of markers, monuments, and pedestals installed at the park to honor our veterans and military history. For more information, to place a brick order or make a donation, visit their website at veteransmemorialparkky.org. Motion made by Magistrate Likens and seconded by Magistrate Leslie to approve a $5,000 donation to Veterans Memorial Park of Kentucky. Motion carried unanimously. Bid opening for cleaning services. The following sealed bids for cleaning services was open and read aloud for the record. Doroto Pazzioni, bid amount was $2,500. Modern Maintenance, bid amount was $33,000 annually for the Fiscal Court building and $13,000 annually for the Police and Dispatch building. And Corvus Janitorial, $2,970 a month for the Fiscal Court building, $295 monthly for the police building, and $295 monthly for dispatch. County Administration, payables. Motion made by Magistrate Logsdon and seconded by Magistrate Hounds to approve the payables. Motion carried 8-1. Magistrate Greenwell voted no. Contract agreements and resolutions. Lease renewal for the state HVAC inspector office space. Motion made by Magistrate Likens and seconded by Magistrate Greenwell to authorize the Judge Executive to sign the lease renewal for the state HVAC inspector's office space in the Fiscal Court building. Motion carried unanimously. Resolution for emergency management flood mitigation assistant grants. Motion made by Magistrate Eldridge and seconded by Magistrate Likens to authorize the Judge Executive to sign Resolution Number 0109-1818 relating to the Emergency Management Flood Mitigation Assistance Program. Motion carried unanimously. Committee reports and recommendations. Road Committee, bond reduction. Motion made by Magistrate Greenwell, seconded by Magistrate Likens, upon the recommendation of the county engineer to reduce the erosion control bond from $30,000 to $15,000 for Grand Oak Section 4 in LaGrange. Motion carried unanimously. Safety Committee report, smoking ordinance. Magistrate Leslie said the Safety Committee was asked by a petitioner to consider an amendment to the recently adopted smoking ordinance that would allow for indoor smoking or vaping in his vape shop. The committee heard from parties both for and against the requested amendment, deciding in the end the committee will not be presenting to Fiscal Court any recommendations to change the ordinance. Personnel actions, dispatch. Motion made by Magistrate Helms and seconded by Magistrate Eldridge to rehire Jason Smizer as part-time telecommunicator at $17.62 an hour effective September 18th. Motion carried unanimously. Board appointments, Ambulance Taxing District. Motion made by Magistrate Dye, seconded by Magistrate Greenwell to reappoint Joan Bryant to the Ambulance Taxing District Board with a term to expire September 4th, 2020. Motion carried unanimously. Stormwater District Board. Motion made by Magistrate Dye, seconded by Magistrate Eldridge to reappoint Gail Turner Cox to the Stormwater District Board with a term to expire September 1st, 2022. Motion carried unanimously. Police Merit Board. Motion made by Magistrate Tice, seconded by Magistrate Eldridge to reappoint John Lucan to the Police Merit Board with a term to expire September 6, 2022. Motion carried unanimously. Oldham County Environmental Authority Board. Motion made by Magistrate Greenwell, seconded by Magistrate Helms to reappoint Art Henson to the Environmental Authority Board with a term to expire September 16, 2022. Motion carried unanimously. Public comment. Emergency Management Services Director Jerry Naurt announced Ironman is Sunday, October 14th, and to expect the usual traffic delays and intermittent road closures during the bicycle portion of this event. Notifications and reminders will be sent out at various times throughout the day via the County Smart 911 emergency warning system relating to road status and traffic concerns. To sign up, contact Oldham County Emergency Management Services 222-0799 or sign up on the county website. Announcements. Magistrate Logsdon encouraged Oldham County residents to sign up for Smart 911 to receive important community messages and emergency alert notifications, stated the speed limit on the 4-lane Highway 393 is 45 miles per hour. There's some road repaving going on, so please be alert and slow down. Magistrate Dye announced Fox Hollows Farm Festival is coming up October 14th, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Family-friendly activities with proceeds benefiting Dare to Care. Heavy rains can cause high waters and flooding. Exercise special caution when moving water exists. Storm culverts can be especially dangerous in these conditions. Magistrate Eldridge announced LaGrange Parkway is now open. Be aware that deer are in abundance and often cross over the road in that area. He acknowledged the many citizens who volunteer throughout the county and corporate entities such as Encompass and East and Westbrook that step up, volunteer, and give back to the community in so many ways. Magistrate Hound stated Ash Avenue culvert work continues, could be partially opened by October 1st. Magistrate Greenwell reminded the community about the free concert hosted by City Place with Louisville Orchestra, 7 p.m. Saturday, September 22nd, free and open to the public. Motion made by Magistrate Dye, seconded by Magistrate Eldridge to adjourn the meeting. Motion carried unanimously. The meeting adjourned at 3 o'clock p.m.
You've heard the reading of our minutes from September 18th. Are there any corrections? Magistrate Helms.
Magistrate Lawson, shouldn't that be 329 after the 329, but I would. 50 years from now.
Did you get that?
Oh, yes, 329 instead of 393.
Any other corrections? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. It's time now for public comment. That time during our meeting when anyone who would like to address the fiscal court is able to do so. We allow up to 4 minutes generally, so our first speaker today will be Becky Zockline.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, members of the Fiscal Court. Good afternoon. Once again, I'd like to come before you and remind the public that our annual Household Hazardous Waste Collection event will take place at Oldham County Fairgrounds on Saturday, October 20th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. During this event, we collect many items, sometimes very unusual, like mercury. I'm not looking for that, but oil-based paints, pesticides, fertilizers, harsh cleansers, items that have been sitting under your kitchen sink or out in your tool shed too long, bring them to this event. Any latex or water-based paints will not be accepted. I encourage you or anyone who has these items to let the paint dry out, and that can be accelerated by adding kitty litter or mulch, and then it can be thrown away in your regular trash. If the paint is still usable, I encourage folks to take advantage of donating it to Habitat for Humanity. So, any
Okay,
questions?
October 20th, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the
Yes.
fairgrounds. All right, that's a good time to dispose of those hazardous wastes.
Thank you.
Thank you. So anyone else who would like to address fiscal court? We ask you to state your name and address.
My name is Nick Stevens, 2902 Borwick Circle, LaGrange 40031. I come here today, standing before the fiscal court to announce Construction. Construction is a global organization through Dare to Care that uses canned food items to build sculptures and then donates the proceeds to a local food bank. This will be the first annual Construction here in Oldham County. It will be on November the 2nd at City Place from 5 to 8 p.m. The community will vote on the structures for best in show, best use of cans, best use of labels. That will be done via the admission, and the admission is one canned food item. This year we have participants from Oldham County Middle School, Oldham County High School, the Oldham County Family YMCA, Ameriprise Financial, Noteworthy, Pollard Realty, and the South Oldham Lions Club. If anyone is interested in helping any of the teams raise funds for their structures, please let me know. I can be contacted at 502-565-0030. Thank you. And the proceeds will be going to High Point.
All right, well, Nick, thank you very much, appreciate it. And,
Thank you.
It sounds like a great project, and hope it gets wide community support, and I'm sure it will. Magistrate Dye, do you have something you want?
I understand what you're doing, but the teams, they got to bring in their own canned goods to do these structures.
The teams are responsible for raising their own canned goods.
Obvious question, are the canned goods empty or full?
Canned goods are full.
Okay. That's one way to,
I don't think High Point would like empty cans.
well, I mean, I was just curious, because, I mean, that's one way to, start out with a good supply of canned goods.
Right.
Okay, sound like a Lego event in a way.
Yep. Look forward to seeing you there.
All right, thank you.
Is there anyone else who's come would like to address the fiscal court? We ask you to state your name and address.
Yeah, I'm Larry Kaiser, 3000 Maple Leaf Drive, LaGrange, Kentucky, 40031. I'm here today to talk about the 71 signs. If we've not considered it, can we discuss potentially putting, similar to the Adopt a Highway, this mile is, sponsored by someone on those signs. People are going to look at them every day to help offset the cost to the taxpayers, have a little marker cross there for businesses. Let someone rent that space on each of the 8 signs. So that's all. I just wanted to bring that up and see if you guys could discuss that.
Okay,
Make sense?
all right, well, we'll see, that idea hasn't been considered. It's generally any advertising on state highway or in relation to the entrance to the interstate is controlled by the federal government or state highway, KYTC. I understand your idea is to promote some efficiency, but cost, but I'm not sure and the signs have been designed to prove there's not really space on there to put advertising.
So-
They're not intended to have advertising on it.
If I feel that idea has further merit, would it be prudent to talk to KYTC District 5? Is that where that decision is potentially made for advertisements? Is that
Well,
what
you
you're saying?
could, I guess.
Okay.
You can start there,
You can
and they
start
might
there.
direct you elsewise.
Okay, but
Yeah.
you guys wouldn't be able to authorize that even if there was an agreement on it because of this
They're
relationship?
the ones that call the shots.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to address fiscal court?
Hello,
Have you state your name and address?
of course.
Okay.
Stephanie Hawkins, and it's 5107 Ridgecrest. And I'm here to talk about a couple of things. The first 2 things I wanted to state are 2 reasons that if you're not currently registered to vote in Oldham County, to register. The first is self-serving. My name will be on the ballot as to run for magistrate in District 6 of Oldham County. So that's one reason I believe personally that you should be registered to vote in Oldham County. The second reason is I'll just kind of go on a little bit of a rant. We are not owned by Germany. We are not owned by England. And I believe that those that have come before you and me have given us the right in this country, this free America, to vote. So that's my second reason, if you're not registered to vote, and registered to vote is because it is your right in this country to vote. And I have a couple of these cards here. I have actually about 100. Julie Barr in her office has many more, probably thousands, but this is what they look like. And if you are not registered to vote in Oldham County, or maybe you've just moved here from another county, or perhaps you've moved from one district to another within Oldham County, you would probably want to get this updated, your information, so that you can vote in the district that you are currently living in. This is one way to do it. If you are in LaGrange, Ballardsville, Buckner, Centerfield, Crestwood, I'll come to you. The deadline to do this is October 9th. And if you are a little bit more new school, you may go to elect.ky.gov, and on the right-hand side are tabs to get yourself registered or to update your registration information so that you are able to vote this election on November 6th. Okay, that deadline to register to vote is October 9th, if I haven't said that yet. On October 10th is when absentee voting in this county starts. So you may come on, starting October 10th to 100 West Jefferson, which is this building right downstairs. You may go to the Oldham County Clerk's office, and this is for, say, if you're a pilot or a flight attendant, or say you drive truck over the road, or if you're a snowbird and you would like to vote before you head out of town, or if you won't be in town on November 6th, go ahead and come in, vote absentee. There's one location to do that, like I said, and it's here in LaGrange at 100 West Jefferson. Those hours, now they are open a little bit earlier on Tuesday. They're open a little bit later on Thursday. However, if you come between 8 and 3, Monday through Friday, starting October 10th, you may vote absentee. And if you have any questions, you may reach out to me. My email address is steph@votesteph.com, and that's STEPH. You may also, of course, find me on Facebook. But you can call Julie Barr's office, which is the Oldham County Clerk's office, and more specifically reach the Elections Department specifically at 222-0047, especially if you need to come, say, at a little bit later than 3 o'clock in the afternoon or a little bit earlier, then they can give you specifics on the hours that they will be there. So I would just like to encourage everybody to register to vote and to vote on November 6th. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Stephanie. Is there anyone else who would like to address the fiscal court? Seeing no one, I'll close public comment and go on to the first item on the agenda today, or just the normal bills that we pay. When the fiscal court is ready, it will accept a motion to pay.
So moved.
Second. Second.
All right, moved and seconded. Do we have any questions for the treasurer or CFO on these? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I don't think I heard 6 ayes or 7.
Aye.
Did everybody say it? It was pretty quiet. All right, motion carries.
Whoop, how
Do
about
we have
opposed?
one fail, huh?
How about opposed?
All right, opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries 6-1. Next item on the agenda here is our bid award for cleaning. Not, okay, sorry. All right, we've got the first reading of our proposed ordinance for the floodwater assistance. We have, who would like to address that?
I've started
Okay.
off, Judge, and then
Okay, go ahead.
the 50/50 Flood Grant Assistance Program has been in existence for, I'm going to say 10 to 12 years, something like that. We didn't get a lot of people take us up on it for the parameters that were stated in the ordinance. So we've reworked the ordinance and changed the parameters and the amount of money, and we had a committee meeting today and discussed this, and I'm going to let Scott Harris go ahead and walk us through the ordinance.
Thank you. Scott Harris, 100 West Jefferson Street, LaGrange. We tried to keep the ordinance as similar as the original one was and just fix the things that we thought was a problem. And with the magistrate's help, what you have before you is the finished product. What we've done is increase the amount of things that you can use this money for. Previously, water had to be in your house. You had to prove you were being flooded to have this grant. Now, if you have certain infrastructure issues that are being harmed, the water's not in the house yet, but when this retaining wall or this sidewalk or this driveway fails, it's gonna be, you can apply for the grant. We've also increased the grant from a 50-50 of $3,000 our share, or half of $6,000, to half of $14,000, or $7,000 our share. Simply because people were laughing at us when they had a drainage problem when we said, well, I'm sorry, but it's on your personal property. You have to fix this, but we can help you. We can give you up to $3,000. You really couldn't fix any problems. It wasn't much help. So we're trying to give them more help. And you've all seen this a couple of times. There's been several revisions of this. And then, like Magistrate Greenwell said, it came through committee today. So.
All right, so I'm going to try to just take 10,000 square foot look at this. We have a lot of flooding problems throughout the county. Many homeowners, deal with flooding issues. The county's dealt with many flooding issues. As expansion comes along, unexpected things happen. Hard surfaces are put down. Water runs this way, that way. So if you're a homeowner and you have a problem with flooding, we have been prepared to help you up to $3,000. That's splitting the cost. Your cost might be more than $3,000, but $3,000 was all you could get from the county assistance. We're willing to raise that now to a higher amount, and that's was it $7,000 or $7,500? $7,000 from the county. That's assuming that your part is at least $7,000. Your part can't be $2,000, and our part's $7,000. It's a 50-50 grant. So we're willing to help, and that encourages people to get out and do things and solve problems. And if you qualify with flooding on your property, so don't take for granted that you qualify until you actually come in here, discuss it with our engineering department, and it's determined that you are an eligible recipient. But our prior program required water to get in your house in order to be eligible. That's no longer, if we pass this amendment to the ordinance, it's no longer going to be the case. You can have flooding issues on the property, and if they meet our requirements, you'll be able to get assistance.
Now, one thing that's staying the same is this is still flood water. This is water from a rain event that runs on the ground. This is not your sump pump stopped working. This is not your water line in your house broke, okay? This is not a sanitary sewer line broke. This is storm water. So this is still, that part is the same.
Right. And each year, we will allocate, in our budgeting process, an amount of money toward that, and the funds will be available on first come, first qualified service. Okay. Magistrate Greenwell.
Thank you, Judge. This ordinance, and this is a first reading, repeals the old ordinance and replaces it with a new one, all in one fell swoop. So that'll take care of that. The Utilities Committee met today and passed the approval of this from the committee standpoint.
So we're announcing this today as a first reading. It'll be posted on our website if anybody would like to read it, but I think it offers a significant step up. We're going to increase our assistance by more than 100%, 125%, so that'll be much more meaningful, as Magistrate Greenwell said, than our last program, which had been in effect for a long period of time, and as inflation had eaten into what the value of $3,000 was, it seemed to get less, but this is going to be a good step forward. Magistrate Likens.
Just a point of clarification, it says $7,000 per homeowner. We discussed in committee today if there was a private road that had a culvert washing out, would that be available to, say, like 10 houses? Are we talking about per house, or is this an individual drainage issue?
It was written as, it's intended for owner-occupied, single-family, and duplex dwellings. That's the intent of this.
Measure Greenwell.
And Judge, we've had more calls this year than almost any year since I've been on court about drainage problems. And the very reason for that is that we're at 10 to 13 inches, depending on where you live, over the average for what we should be having this year. In other words, if it stopped raining right now, didn't rain for the next 3 months, we'd still have an over average year. So it's just been a year for the record books, obviously.
Measure Die.
I think this is a good move towards helping the individual homeowners. As you've aptly said, $3,000 doesn't get you too far down the road today. My only, and really this is not the time to discuss it, I just want to bring out two things I did not see in this. Apparently, do it yourself is not allowed.
No, we require you to get a contractor.
Okay.
Yes.
And you're leaving it to the homeowner to vet the contractor?
That's
How-
correct.
and I don't want the answer today, but I'm just concerned about if we're paying for part of this, and Mr. Carter could probably step in and maybe answer this, but are we going to be held, can we be held, because we're paying for part of this, and the project goes bad, can we be held liable somewhere down the road? So that's not an answer I want today, but that's just something, there's a lot of contractors that once people got this money's out there, there's going to be a lot of new contractors in town, I think.
If I may, Master Dye, like I said, we tried to keep this as similar as it was before, and that part we kept the same. Currently, with the $3,000 maximum, we don't vet the contractor. Right. If you're a homeowner that comes with a complaint problem, standard procedure is we give you a yellow pages or white pages listing of here's all the
That's
local,
okay. I just
here's
wanna
the local contractors. Pick one, okay? And if they've done a good job, there's no reason for us to remove them. We have removed a few, but they tell us what they're going to do to solve the problem. We either agree or disagree. Then they deal with the homeowner, get everything done. Once the homeowner has paid them, they come to us for the money, and we go out and see that it was actually done.
And that's our
But
safeguard.
we're not doing day-to-day inspections. We're not checking designs. We're not calculating flow
got
rates.
all that.
Yeah.
That's our basic
Basic
protection
oversight.
by us doing the final look at it and say, okay, you did what you said you were going to do.
Right.
Here's your money.
Right.
That's all I'm concerned about.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right, that is our first reading of this proposed ordinance to replace our current stormwater ordinance. We'll take this up again on the 6th of November. And at that time, we'll have a public hearing. If anybody would like to address it, they'll be able to do so. The next item on the agenda today has to do with our bid award for cleaning contracts at various buildings. Rodney Gabbert, are you going to take care of that, please?
Good afternoon. I'm presenting two new contracts for the cleaning services of Oldham County Fiscal Court buildings and the dispatch and the police department. I'm hoping that you gentlemen will approve the two of them. And any questions?
Well, our first contract here that we opened at the last meeting, opened these bids. That was to Dorota Taziani. This is to clean the fiscal court building, $30,000 a year. She bid
Yes.
$2,500 a month, I believe is what it was in the
Yes.
minutes, but it was actually $30,000 a year. That was low bid. All right. Magistrate Hounds, anybody on the building committee? Is this, or Magistrate Greenwell, who's on the building committee here? Somebody, Magistrate Likens, you?
Yes, Judge, we haven't actually talked about this in building committee meeting, which is not till next week. But if they are the low bidder, would they be under the direction of whom as far as
Under,
cleaning?
yeah, we're under Mr. Gabbert's direction, right?
And my other question to Mr. Gabbard is, since we've never used this person before, let's say we're not satisfied with what they do, is this a month-to-month, or is this a contract and we're held to them for the entire year?
I would take it as we're held for a year, being that's what the contract is for.
Well, it's a year-long contract, but they have to perform according to the terms of the contract.
Okay.
If you don't perform,
Right.
you're out.
Sometimes, as us men well know, our vision of cleaning is not what someone else's vision of cleaning is. But that was my only question about that.
Well, they're held to our standard, not their standard.
And I'll make a motion that we approve the cleaning contract to Dorota Tazanani, whatever, however you say it. Yanni,
Difficult last name to pronounce, and we're all getting it wrong, probably.
probably.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion on this?
Maybe I missed it. Maybe I missed this, but what committee approved this?
We didn't,
This was a bid from last week.
Right, but I mean,
That
reviewed
normally we take low bidder, we don't go back to the committee for approval once bids are received. That's it.
What I mean is, the bids that they turned in they qualified from what was sent out for a bid
Yes,
package?
they did.
I'm just asking who qualified that information?
Ronnie Gabbard.
Well, the specs were prepared by the maintenance department and the treasurer and posted, and they,
Right, but who compared this, what was turned into us, the bids to us, with what the specs were? That's what I'm asking.
no, you have to turn, Rodney Gabbert did.
You did.
Yes.
Okay, that's my question.
There's no mystery here, it's a cleaning contract.
I know, but the reason why I'm not saying there's a mystery, I'm just concerned that it seems like we go through cleaning people fairly regularly, and I'm just concerned that maybe we need.
Well, I'm not sure. I think we've had the last group for several years, quite a while. And, we're attempting to get the lowest bidder. I mean, if you're not going to bid them, you might stay with the same one for a long period of time, but
All righty, thank you.
competitive circumstance, yeah. All right, any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right, you have another one that we opened, and that has to do with the police department and dispatch.
Correct.
Okay, and that maintenance contract was for Corvus,
Yes.
was the low bidder, $700 a month on those two
Correct.
buildings.
84 a year, 2 services a week, Tuesday and Friday for both buildings, both during the day. That was one of their criteria they wished.
Right, and in order to clean in those buildings, the maintenance people who are in the buildings have to have crossed certain background
Yes.
thresholds.
Which they're going through.
Right, so, right. All right, is there a motion to approve that?
Make that motion, Judge.
Second.
Moving and second, any discussion on that?
You've answered my question.
All right, well, you could ask it again here if you want to,
Me to do that?
No, I don't think so. I
All
think
right, thank you.
prior answer will suffice. All right. Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Now we're going to do the bid award for the stream mitigation project out in Oldham Reserve. Jim Urban is here, and I believe Jim is going to correct a date in the
Couple things.
draft that you may have there.
Pretty simple, yes. Judge, thanks, and good afternoon, magistrates, good afternoon. Jim Urban, Director of Planning and Development Services. If you remember, 2 fiscal court meetings ago, we opened bids for the Pond 5 Stream and Wetland Restoration Project in relation to LaGrange Parkway. There was one bidder, but it was apparent right from the beginning that they were over what we had as a budget. Since that time, I've met with the Oldham Board, I've met with Judge Vogel. I have not yet met with the city of LaGrange specifically, although I need to, but they were at the Oldham meeting talking about needing to do this project and finding the funds to be able to complete this project. So I'm here to ask you today to consider first awarding the bid to EMS, which is Environmental Management Specialists out of Groveport, Ohio, and then authorize the judge to sign the contract when it's finalized. And in reality, it still says draft on it, but there are two items that need to be changed. They're minor, and then we will have a final agreed contract. Since the time that we opened the bids, we've been working with Red Wing, and Kirsten Fuchs is here from Red Wing, and the proposer to come to agreement on reducing the costs. And essentially, we went from being over by about $69,000 to being over by just under $34,000. So we've reduced some of the requirements based on what was in the bid package. And so we are still, again, over $33,399.62. And while I'm talking about the budget, what I want to show you is this part of the draft contract, which is their agreed-upon price. So this is the final price, and we did ask them to bid it in two pieces. One is the upper pond, and one is the lower pond, because those have two different funding sources. So the completed project on both the upper and the lower would be $441,199.62. So that is fixed. We've agreed on that. The two items, again, very simply in the contract, I guess I couldn't get my head out of the fact that this was going to go into next year. So originally in the draft, I put 2018 as a date. When I talked with the contractor, we had originally put May 30th, which would have been 2019. He asked to have until June 30th of 2019, so one additional month. So that would be one amendment to this draft. The second amendment was in talking with Melissa about the requirements for insurance, and the contractor agreed fairly quickly, was on the second page, they agreed that they'll provide $1 million in insurance, and they also did submit to me their certificate of insurance liability, which covers them even more than the $1 million. So we've really kind of fixed both those things in the draft. So at this point, unless you have questions, I'd ask you to consider, again, first of all, accepting EMS as the successful bidder, and then allowing the judge to sign this contract. When we make these final changes, we would have actually had the contract signed by the company if they couldn't get the watermark that said draft off of it. So they sent me an email saying once the draft is gone, they're in agreement with this proposed contract.
Judge, I'll make that motion to approve this contract as he's presented and allow you to sign it.
Second, moved and seconded. Do we have any discussion on this? Magistrate Greenwell?
Thank you. Jim, you said that originally it was 60-something thousand over what we had budgeted.
About 69.
Okay, and then we got it down to 30-something thousand over?
$33,899 and some change over our budget.
Okay.
So we
And,
reduced it by about $30-something thousand. What's the number? 24,000? $35,000.
okay. And Oldham will be writing a check for this?
Yes. We have a contract with the Transportation Cabinet, a memorandum of agreement that says that they're putting $138,000 into the Upper Pond 5. Their bid for Upper Pond 5, although it's only $133,810, it does not include the fact that we have to pay Red Wing for their services, and Red Wing's services are $28,700. So the total, including those services, is $162,000. Again, of which the cabinet is giving us $138,000. So we have to pay the difference of $24,510 just on the Upper Pond. Same condition on the Lower Pond, except the money's coming from the Oldham budget. There's $340,000 in the Oldham budget. Their bid is $307,000 and some change. Red Wing is charging $42,000 for their services, which gives it a total of $349,000. So there's about $9,000 and some change over. So when you put the 24 and the 9, that's where you get the $33,000 $899, which we have to come up with. So in speaking with Judge Vogel, I'm going to go to the city. Since they're partners in Oldham Reserve, we're looking to ask them to pay for half of
Well,
that
that's
overage.
exactly what I was getting to, is that
Yes.
this is a 50-50 proposition between partners, and I would like to think that our partners are going to kick in the same as we are.
And I think we have that general agreement in the Oldham meeting. We didn't hear that they weren't going to do it. We just didn't have a number to give them. Of course, we've reduced it significantly, so each of the partners would pay about $17,000.
Okay. Okay.
Magistrate Tice, whoop, you
My
want,
question was going to be, is the Oldham board signing the contract on this? Or is this something the judge and the mayor will sign on this? Or is,
Well, we have proposed the contract between Fiscal Court and the contractor, and then we would have an agreement with City of LaGrange to pay the difference.
and we're all there together. I just was trying to figure out who was going to be signing the
That's why I'm asking you to authorize the judge to sign the contract when it's complete, because it'll be in Fiscal Court.
Magistrate Dye?
It might be worth mentioning yet again today that this Pond 5's whole situation is a result of the road, construction of the road. It was a requirement. It was set forth in the design. Jim could probably expound much deeper on that. And then the numbers which we were working on, because we really didn't know exactly when you start talking about mitigating the pond, what, it seemed like the goalpost kind of moved a little bit. So we were using numbers that they were really good estimates or guesstimates, and by the time that we got the original number in Oldham, time it really got to this point with the road opening being pushed back, this is probably as a result of that. But I do have one question. Did we get the tree count down any?
No, I don't think so. It's not. And that was one of the additional costs,
Yeah.
was that the Army Corps is requiring more tree planting.
The tree
than-
counts per acre went from,
from
yeah, the
60
tree count
trees
per
to
acre
200.
went from 60 trees to 200. So that was one of those things about pushing the goalpost I'm talking about. So it's not, is it more money than we had intended? Yes, it isn't over our budget, but the budget was a guesstimate at best, and most budgets are, so.
Magistrate Likens?
Thank you, Judge. I've never liked a single bid contract. Do we have any idea why we didn't get a couple of competitive bids for this? Because this is a pretty significant number.
Yeah, we had a pre-bid meeting. It wasn't required, but we had 7 companies show up. We met here in the Fiscal Court conference room first and then went out in the field. There were really good qualified firms that were there. We thought we were going to get more. One of them in particular missed the filing deadline, which was Friday at noon, and on Monday morning he called and said, I blew it. His estimate after he told me was significantly higher than this bid, actually. The others, some of them were a little bit afraid of working in a wetland, and I think maybe based on the fact that they have significant workloads, but I never had any other feedback about why nobody else bid.
Mr. Carter?
Yes, on the, before I would recommend that Fiscal Court sign a contract with somebody from Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio, I'd recommend we have a clause in here that all lawsuits arising from this contract shall be brought in the Oldham Circuit Court, or any other court, applicable court in Oldham County. And there's a detailed arbitration agreement in here, or agreement to arbitrate, and it needs to be defined as occurring here in Oldham County, and that the arbitrators be selected from someone within the state.
That's a good point. I will get with you on if there's specific language that we can.
And
put
I
in
wouldn't
there.
sign any contract with any company outside the state of Kentucky with that kind of clause in it, because that can cost you more money than the contract is if you get in a legal dispute in Cleveland, Ohio, particularly in federal court. Because you have diversity of citizenship and more than $75,000 in controversy, which means that any legal dispute in this contract could conceivably occur in a federal court somewhere. So we need to narrow that down to where we don't wind up in federal court in Ohio somewhere.
All right, those are excellent points that could have been brought up earlier, but I know that you were out. So whoever signed this in your office should have brought that up.
Well, it was a draft contract, and I don't think Mr. Combs knew that they were going to vote today to authorize you to sign it in that form, because it said draft on it.
Well, I think
When it's
we can-
finalized, John, I
we
mean,
can go
that's the,
forward
you know,
and,
and we can put language in there and I'll run it
Okay.
past them. I'm sure they'll, I don't think what you're saying affects their work or their estimate. I think it would be just a good point to put in here and we can work on language and get it in the contract.
Judge, would you want me to amend the motion to add that, based on approved legal language on the, what Mr. Carter just said?
Legal jurisdiction and venue.
Right,
Thank you for those.
right. So we'll go correct the date, the amount, and the location. Okay, Mr. Tice.
Can I go back to one thing? Sure. What was it that they increased the tree?
The Army Corps of Engineers, instead of, the original plan had 60 trees to be planted and they increased it to 200.
From 60 to 200. Now, how many acres does this affect?
About 5.
A lot of trees for 5 acres. Am I wrong, or
No,
we just lost 5 acres of land?
Well, this is
that a
in a-
good assumption or not a good assumption?
we can't build anything in there. This is all in the restoration area. There's nothing that can be built in there. So having trees is really just a way of dealing with additional stormwater runoff and/or it's part of what will become the natural
So we
environment.
couldn't have used that land anyway, so we didn't lose anything?
That's correct.
Got it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Manager Greenwell.
Thank you, Judge. I was interested in the trees, and without getting into the weeds too much, and the trees in this case, that's one tree for every 220 square feet. It just blows my mind, the requirements that they can just throw at something. And, I mean, I guess they're counting on some of them dying and maybe not reaching maturity, but these trees are going to be knocking each other out of the way when they get mature, if you figure the footprint.
It depends on the type of tree, yes.
Now, what type of tree is it? I mean, if it's an oak tree, that's one thing. If it's a dogwood, it's another.
Rather than turning around to
Okay.
Kristen, she's the one that worked with
This
the
would be
Corps on this
Kristen
requirement,
Fuchs
so-
from Red Wing Environmental Services.
Kirsten Fuchs from Red Wing. It's basically a list of a couple different types. There are oaks, there's maples, there are, elm trees, sycamores. Basically, they're all native trees that grow in this area. So,
In other words, if you figure 220 square feet, that's 10 by 22 if you want to get real simple. And think about a tree being in the middle of that.
Yeah.
Well, how can that be? I mean, you just,
It's a very good
That's
question.
thick forestation in my
Oh,
book.
I understand, and we have had this discussion round and round with the Corps of Engineers, but that is their new policy that they're issuing all permits under. It is a ridiculous amount of trees.
We're not going to win this argument, but I just wanted to bring it
No,
forward.
I understand.
We could grow
Helping
trees
to
and then cut
understand
them
the
for
argument
timber.
you're going to lose is pretty good, though, yeah.
Yep. And that, to one point about your question about the land was always set aside for this conservation area. So there has not been any acreage change, whether we are planting 60 trees per acre or 200 trees per acre. It's just that the amount of trees that we have to buy and plant for this project increased enormously.
We did away with the lake, right?
Yes, yes.
And in its place, we figured a stream that will flow through there.
That's correct.
Am I right?
Yes. And about
what-
an acre of wetlands as well.
So, and we've got about 5 acres that was lake.
Yes.
That's now going to be a stream area.
Yes, that is correct.
With a road going through the middle of it.
Right.
Okay, I'm all right. It's
Judge, that's a tree for
I just
about
did-
every 1,100 square feet
Yeah.
is what it is, which is about a 30 by 40 area.
Area.
So it's,
do these trees have to start out at any particular size?
Yep, we have to have the 3-gallon pots that we plant, so they're usually probably anywhere from, 2 to 4 feet tall. So if we planted the little seedlings, we'd be looking at probably 400 or 500 an acre. It's just a really heavy amount of trees. I know.
Judge, as I've said before, this will be the nicest destination spot in Oldham County.
No, I think it'll be impossible to go there. It'll
Well,
be too much.
yeah.
Well, it'll be wet. You won't be able to get in there. It's in the, you know, an area that we're really not encouraging anybody to
Would
travel.
go anyway.
walk
But as
in.
we sell the property, nobody will be deeded this area of the property.
No, that's
So it'll
correct.
just be a forest between two properties. Thank you, and I can visualize that now. Got it.
Judge,
Yes, ma'am.
what kind of maintenance ongoing? I mean, we plant the trees, everybody in this room's planted a tree, some die, some live, but is there any ongoing maintenance after we do this project to the,
No, the whole focus of the area is a natural area, so it has a conservation easement on it. So you actually won't be able to mow, you can't clear any trees in there unless you've got one falling across the
Right.
road or blocking the stream. The only maintenance I can see is if something's blocking the culvert upstream of LaGrange Parkway, you can do maintenance there, and there's a easement to get in and make sure that KYTC or local can get in there. So,
okay.
All right, I think we have a motion and a second, am I correct on that? On the floor to go ahead and allow me to sign this contract with the change of date, change of amount, and with the legal disclaimers that will be added by the county attorney's office.
Right, on legal jurisdiction and venue.
All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion
Aye.
carries. Pardon? One opposition? All right. Motion carries 6-1. Thank you. Thank you. Now we'll go on to the Park and Ride amendment, and Belinda Demas from Planning Department has been working on that.
Hello. This is an amendment to our original agreement with the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet for the Park and Ride at Apple Patch. This amendment authorizes $1,057,320 in federal funds for the construction phase of the project. Toll credits will be used to meet the matching requirements. The funds will be used in conjunction with CMAQ funds that were already authorized as part of the agreement, which we are now amending to build the project, and we're asking Fiscal Court to allow Judge Vogel to sign the agreement.
Judge, I'll make that motion.
Second?
Is there any discussion on this?
Yeah, Belinda,
Yes, sir.
I want you to say it in front of everyone now, we're actually going to turn some dirt?
If I have to go out there with a shovel, we will turn some dirt.
We'll see.
You've
May
worked
not
ver-
be much, but we'll turn some.
Yeah, we've worked very diligently on this, you have, for,
It's a long time.
Wow, yeah,
Yeah.
right. Anyone else have a comment on it? All right, hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Road Committee Performance Bond, Magistrate Greenwell.
Thank you, Judge. The road committee met today and recommended the performance bond release at the proposal of Scott Harris. The performance bond amount of $7,850 is being recommended for release by the county engineer. This is for Stamper Addition Development. It's actually in the city of LaGrange. They approved it and asked us to check it. We approved it, and so I'm recommending it for release.
Second.
Moved and seconded to release the Stamper Addition Development Bond, Performance Bond, $7,850. Any comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Now we have the proposed closing of Stubb Street in the Mosier Farm addition. Magistrate Dye, would you like to comment on that, please?
yes, sir. You want to come up, Scott? You have the photographs. You could walk us through it quicker than I can do it from here. What this is there's a small a piece of county road that basically he'll show in the pictures here, where it was a road going into an old farmhouse, which has since been just taken down and another home put in its place. And the stub actually is in the centerpiece of the driveway that he's put in, and Scott can take it from here.
This is the stub. Mosier Farm runs the whole length of it, and this stub just dies into two driveways. One side is two residences. The other side is an open space, part of the existing subdivision. At the request of the magistrate, we had signs made and posted within a mile, in prominent locations within a mile of this location. That's the sign announcing that a hearing will be held at next fiscal court, October 16th, to close a stub of Mosier Farm Road east of Mountain Ash Lane and west of John Mosier Way. Now, those are very close roads, so this really narrows it down. And this is Mountain Ash Lane, and this is John Mosier Way, and this is the piece that we're talking about. Ads have been run. Am I correct? Yes. Ads have been run, and we're asking the court to appoint a committee to look at this for possible issues.
All right. And those individuals of a three-person committee who will be appointed are Dan Schmidt of 10,717 Worthington Lane, Frank Dietrich of 10,506 Mountain Ash Avenue, or Lane, and Tim Mueller of 6,004 Mosier Farm Road. Those individuals have been proposed by Magistrate Dye, and
I thought one of those had to be your appointment.
Pardon?
I thought one of those was one of your appointments.
No, they're all, I don't know any of these gentlemen.
Tim Mueller is the owner of the property.
It have to be disinterested residents. Mr. Mueller owns the property.
I thought you were number 3.
How many people are we supposed to have? Just two is all we need?
It's two
Okay,
along with the
so-
county engineer.
All right, I understand, all right.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, it's just the first two, Dan Schmidt and Frank Dietrich,
Along with me.
Yes.
along with you, right, okay. I knew there were three people involved, but gave me a sheet with three names here, so.
Before you sit down, Scott, would you put that back up, please?
Yes, sir.
Scott told me today that there's been a little confusion with some of the residents in Mosier Farm. I'm sure I'll be hearing something from them, being their magistrate. You had some comments like, where are we going to park and all that, because there's a park space. Show them the park there.
This is open space.
It's open, it's a park, and they said, where are we going to park? Well, no one ever parked. That was a driveway. I don't think they understand that our directions on the sign, but I'll get that covered, taken care of. So, but give me those names. I would like to talk to those people.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's all.
All right, so we'll deal with this in a public hearing at our next meeting on the 16th of October. And we'll receive a report from the committee at that point as well. The next item here is to deal with human resources, and Magistrate Logston, do you have some job descriptions?
Yes, sir. We have, we've been ongoing updating our job descriptions, and if Tina would come forward and explain to you all their equipment operator 1, 2, and 3 have gone through committee also.
Right. So before you are 3 job descriptions for the equipment operators. Equipment operator 1, we took out the requirement for a CDL, so that has been taken actually to move to equipment operator 2. So we can use equipment operator 1 for the basic equipment that we have at the road department, such as the mowers and all the labor, and labor. Equipment operator 2 includes the requirement to have the CDL, and the equipment operator 3 includes the CDL plus supervision skills as well. So we put them in the new format that we've been using and updated them.
Judge, I'd like to make a recommendation. We accept all 3 job description updates.
Second.
All right, moved and seconded that the job descriptions for equipment operators 1, 2, and 3, these new descriptions be accepted. Is there any discussion on it? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next item on the personnel, road department here, Tina, you want to go forward?
Sure. We have, due to those changes, we have some road road department personnel that need to be bumped up now to the equipment operator 2. The first one would be Gary Miller. His salary would stay the same. Robert Moore, he would go to $15.30 per hour, and Anthony Clark at $15 per hour. And those would all be effective today.
So moved.
Second.
All right, moved and seconded that these promotions to Equipment Operator 2, Gary Miller, Robert Moore, and Anthony Clark all be approved. Is there any question or objection to that? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
The next item is a new hire for the maintenance department. Carl Ham as a maintenance assistant 1 at $14.90 per hour, and that would be effective tomorrow.
I'll make that motion, Judge.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion on that? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I have some board appointments here. First one is a reappointment to the Ambulance Taxing Board for a 2-year term. That is Steve Turover, 2505 Fieldstone Drive in LaGrange. I'd like to make that recommendation. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Any discussion on that? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Turover, for the work you've done. Here is a reappointment to the Planning Commission Board, 4-year term for William Douglas, 4631 Heritage Manor Drive, Crestwood. Make that recommendation. Motion, do we have a second? Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Next one is for Code Enforcement. This would be a reappointment of Steve Moss to a 3-year term. Steve lives at 4112 Myers Avenue in Crestwood. I'll make that recommendation.
So moved. Second.
Second. Any questions on that? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Code Enforcement Board, this is appointment to replace Larry Chandler. Larry served with distinction for the 3 years, but has just got more commitments than, he wanted to lighten his load slightly. And I would like to recommend Jeff Poole. Jeff has a background in corrections and in law enforcement. He's he works for the Motor Vehicle Commission. He's a dealer administrator, investigator there. He lives at 5700 Old LaGrange Road in Crestwood. I think he has the experience and temperament to do well on the Code Enforcement Board. He's also been a former police officer in Pee Wee Valley way back in the day. So I'll make that recommendation. Is there a second? All right. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Our last group of appointments today have to do with an additional 3 members to the Briar Hill Road Taxing District. We've only had 3 members on that district. The statute allows for 6, and the existing 3 would like to have 3 more people with them. They've asked that we appoint Larry Roof, John Dolan, and Brian Weller to the Taxing District Board.
Second.
Any discussion on that? Magistrate Greenwell.
Yes, Judge, this is a road, I think I'm correct in, that the county took over a year and a half ago, something like that. Yet they still owe money to finish up the improvements that were made to it, and then is that why they have a taxing
Yes, right.
district?
Right.
Okay. Because once we take a road over, there's no need, but
Right.
they're...
No, there's still bond debt owed on this,
Okay.
and it's going to take them, I'd say, another 2 to 3 years to
Okay.
work their way out from under. So, okay. Any further discussion on that? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right, a fairly short meeting today. It's just a little bit after 3 o'clock. We're going to wind up with our second public comment now. If anyone has come in who would like to address the fiscal court, you certainly, we ask you to state your name and address, not for us, but for anyone viewing this program.
Jane Ashley Pace, 103 North 6th Avenue here in LaGrange. And I'm here as publisher of the Oldham Era to invite everyone to a political forum that will be held at City Place on Tuesday, October 16th. And we will have U.S. representative seats, all the countywide seats, and the mayoral races that evening. So we invite you all to attend. The forum is being put on by the Oldham Era, the Oldham County Public Library, and the Oldham County Chamber. And we are currently collecting questions from the public that we will use that night for the forum. So
If they'd like
it's
to.
6 o'clock, October 16th at City Place.
When you say collecting questions, where are they to be submitted?
There's a link on the Oldham Era page. You can also go to the public library if you're not on the computer and submit it there at the library. They have forms for you.
Great, thank you. Anyone else like to address the fiscal court? Happy to welcome Deputy Mike Meese.
Judge, magistrates. I wanted to make the public and everyone aware that on October the 27th of October, on a Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., the Oldham County Police Department and Oldham County Sheriff's Office will be conducting a joint drug take-back again in partnership with the DEA as part of the DEA National Drug Initiative Day. Our locations this year will be the LaGrange Fire Station 2, located at 3637 West Highway 146 in Buckner. We've added a new location this year on the north side at the North Oldham Fire Department at 1660 Kentucky Highway 1793, right up from the North Oldham High School. And then finally, the Oldham County Police Department at 1855 North Highway 393 in Buckner. And again, the times will be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. As a reminder, over 1,500 Kentuckians are still dying each year from opioid overdose. Continues to be a massive problem in the state, and we would encourage residents to bring their unused prescriptions. They can leave them in the original containers, and they will be properly disposed of in an EPA-approved manner.
Okay, great. We've had a lot of success with our drug take-back program. Mike has been a real big mover in that program. Appreciate all you've done, and get these drugs off the street in our community.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mike, I hate to put you on the spot, but do you remember how many pounds we took in last year? I mean, it was an unbelievable amount of pounds.
We actually, every year you would think that, the numbers might start declining a little bit as these initiatives continue every year, but actually last year we had one of our largest years with almost 350 pounds turned in, and a large percentage of that were Schedule 1 and 3 narcotics. So. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else who would like to speak at their public comment? Jerry Nart, our EMS, or Emergency Management, not EMS.
Yes, sir. And very briefly, at the risk of being redundant, I'd like again to get out that Smart 911 is a way to go to get notifications for this county. Total people subscribing at this time is over 18,000, nearly 19,000. About 45 signed up just for traffic alerts, and then there's another 5,500 or so, or somewhere around there, over 5,000 for weather. But total 18,000, almost 19,000 total signees. But again, just putting the plug in one more time.
And Judge, can I speak?
Yes, sir.
And can you, I know we got something yesterday about our our fire ban lift, so could you just expand on that while you're up here about the burn ban, and please call dispatch to let people know?
Yes, the burn ban during the summer is regulated by the state EPA, and they're the ones who regulate the time periods. And so that has now been lifted since we're going into the fall and a little bit wetter weather. There are still some very basic regulations or restrictions, but the biggest thing is, yes, please call Oldham County Dispatch before you do that, and then they will help you through.
Right. Measure die.
Wait, Jerry? If they miss the dispatch call, and what occurs then? They send, if they don't make that call and somebody reports a smoke, what?
Well, the fact that everybody knows that the ban, quote unquote, is lifted at this time, we probably won't get as many calls as we do during the middle of the ban when people want to report others for illegal burns. An officer could be dispatched to that scene and ask, did you call OCD ahead of time? Technically, there would be some penalties because that's in the ban rules that you have to notify us, but
It could be issued a citation.
yes, could be.
Fire would be sent out first.
Fire would be sent as well, yes.
Yeah, okay. All right, thanks.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else? Seeing no one, I'll close public comment, and we'll wind up our meeting today with any final comments from magistrates. Magistrate Likens?
Thank you, Judge. Just want to remind everybody that October the 14th is the Ironman contest, and we all have to exercise patience and caution with those bicyclers. And on Highway 42, they start a few weeks early checking out the course. So from now until then, we'll have to watch out for bicyclers. And I wanted to ask the judge, are we still getting the donation from the Ironman
Yes, we
contest?
received the donation pretty close to every year for the last 10 years. And it has been a minimum of $10,000 each year. Last year we received $15,000. This year we received a check for $15,000.
And that's substantial, $15,000. I know it's, like I said, it's it aggravates everybody to get behind the bicycler that drives in the middle of the road. I do wish it's the one bad egg that gives them all, makes us all mad at them. But if that one bad egg would kind of get over to the side where we would like for him to be, it would help. But we just need to exercise caution and patience. It's just 2 weeks, and really just that one day is really bad. So thank you.
All right, thank you. Yes, we have the money that we've received from the Ironman Foundation. We've used for athletic-related events that are connected to Ironman, running, biking, swimming, things that are synergistic with the Ironman program.
And I would like to wish Kevin Eldridge a speedy recovery. He had a minor operation, I think, today. It's the reason he is not here. So.
It may have been minor to you, but it probably wasn't. Probably
The
wasn't
other
to
guy's
him.
minor.
That's right. I think he'd say we heard he's in good shape, so we appreciate that. All right, Magistrate Tice?
Yes, received a phone call today from one of the residents over on 42 down at Hunters Ridge subdivision, and there was an accident there last night from campaigning over there during the spring. Terrible congestion. The State Highway Department is going to be putting in 3 lanes, but everything takes time. It brings it back to mind that people just have to be careful over there. It's a lot of traffic in the morning and the evening, and it's hard to get in and out all of the roads. But hopefully we are careful and courteous, and we won't have any more accidents, hopefully. So that's it.
Magistrate Greenwell?
Thank you, Judge. Louisville Paving completed the paving job on Highway 22 from Ballersville to the Henry County line. It's a super nice job. I wish they could. I wish the state transportation cabinet could find enough money to do 22 from Ballersville to Abbott Lane, but they say that they don't have the funds to do that. So anyway, what they did was good, and I appreciate it. Secondly, I might steal Michael Logston's thunder here, but Veterans Memorial Parkway is still under construction with turning lanes and shouldering and everything else, and they're really getting serious about it, and it's a very congested place, so please be careful.
All right, thank you. Magistrate Hounds?
Thank you, Judge. Part of my thunder was stolen about the Smart 911 that Mr. Nart brought up, but in the past week I've attended a couple of different events and handed out the Smart 911 cards, and it still surprises me the number of people that don't know about the service. If you need more information about it, you can call one of the magistrates or you can call emergency management and they'll give you that information. The burn ban 2 is also lifted, and I've had several people ask what size and what can they burn. Still, it's natural growth. You can't burn trash. You can't have a pile of trash and consider that burning now that the burn ban has been lifted. The other thing I wanted to bring up, two things. Well, first thing is we get this email from animal control and a few other of the areas in the county government with information. And one thing we got this month was from animal control about a gentleman, Connor Joy. And the cool thing is, I'll read you exactly what animal control wrote. Said, Connor Joy is an awesome Oldham County resident. He visited our shelter one day in September and gave us a $25 donation. What's amazing about this young man is that he earned this money by having a lemonade stand for the purpose of helping our shelter animals. Oldham County Animal Control sends a big thank you to Connor. That's pretty cool that he did that and brought that money then into the animal shelter. I just wanted to give him a shout out for that he had done. The last thing is, I know I've talked about Ash Avenue before, and October 1st happened to be yesterday, and as I drove today, it's still not open like they said it might be. So it's kind of like the 329 project at Dairy Queen. Hopefully it doesn't last that long, but I know people are getting frustrated. Still get lots of phone calls about people speeding in Ashbrook and Confederate Estates, but hopefully they'll get the road open pretty soon and they'll alleviate some of that problem. Thank you.
All right, Magistrate Dye.
To go back to your road analogy there, let's just hope it doesn't last as long as Park and Tark. That was like, 13 years, I think. So I want to make a correct, the minutes earlier reflected, I made a mistake last meeting. The Fox Hollow Farm is the 13th, not the 14th. I didn't correct the minutes because the minutes were correct. That's what I said. But I want to make the correction now. It is 9 to 6, family-friendly activities with proceeds benefiting Dare to Care. So hopefully, I believe it's going to be a little warm this weekend, so addressed accordingly. The other thing is I went to the Briar Hill Estates HOA meeting the other day. Had a fairly big crowd for an HOA meeting. Everybody was satisfied. I asked a direct question, are you satisfied with county government and what we're doing? And there was no hemming and hawing. So I think we're doing a great job. And for anyone that watches this or listens that live in Moser Farm, about the Moser Farm Stub Road, you can call me direct at 423-7371, or my cell is 299-7371. So that's all I got.
All right, Magistrate Logston? Nothing now? Well, I've got a couple things here to say. The Magistrate Greenwell mentioned Hunter's Ridge and 42 over there, or Magistrate Tice. We've been struggling with that location for a long time, and it's taken a long time to acquire the property over there. There have been legal challenges to acquiring the property, and now there are issues with moving the utilities, those being AT&T and Spectrum, I'm told construction's not going to start there until sometime in 2020. That's a huge disappointment for a lot of us because we've been, when I came on the court in 2007, we were talking about that, and we're still talking about it. But we don't have a way of actually forcing the Transportation Cabinet to adjust their schedules. We work them all we can, and we have a lot of success, but they have a lot of people working them, and and it's dependent on outside agencies as to what happens on how fast a project can go as well. So anyway, I'm disappointed to have to say that, but the construction is not expected to start until 2020. Another thing that is about roads that's really, has me bothered. I don't, sleep well some nights thinking about the safety on I-71. We had 4 deaths last month on our 14-mile stretch of interstate here. I've asked and gotten the Federal Highway Administration is going to do a road safety audit of our 14 miles. It's a formal interdisciplinary study. of anything they can do to improve safety in Oldham County. I personally don't think it's the design. I think it's in attention and speed. But I'm hoping that something will come about through this study that will help raise the consciousness of others coming through here. People who live in our county are already well aware of the, let's say, danger of driving on I-71, or the likelihood or the possibility of accidents. Nevertheless, people speed right by you every day, and if you look at their plate, it'll say Oldham County on it, and they may be doing 80 or 85 miles an hour. We've got to slow down, please, everyone. Take care of your own family, take care of other people's family, and slow down. The last thing I'd like to mention also deals with transportation. We're having our formal opening a week from today of LaGrange Parkway. It'll be in the LaGrange Parkway from 11:30 to 1:30. Wish David Bazana said he was here, hadn't left. He could have told us exactly when the ribbon cutting ceremony will be, but everybody who would like to come out for our ceremony and open house is very welcome to do so. The road will stay open to drive through there, but the police will be there to segregate cars in certain areas and create a safe condition for people to assemble. We're really thrilled to have this road open. It's a tremendous addition to our county. It saves a lot of time from the Ballardsville area over to the Highway 146 area if you want to bypass LaGrange. But we're really hoping when we invite many of the guests who will be coming are people who are in the business relocation activity, real estate brokers, other people who we need to make aware of the business opportunities in Oldham Reserve. So they're on a guest list that is being sent out by the Chamber of Commerce, but everybody in our community who would like to be there is certainly welcome and invited to attend. So I would say look for somewhere in the 12:15 to 12:30 area for our ribbon cutting a week from today. And of course, we'll pray for good weather. We all know outside events are risky this time of year, risky any time of year, but in the fall and October they can get a little rougher than normal. So anyway, that's all I have for today. I thank everybody who came to the meeting and those who spoke here today and those who are viewing our program on television or on the internet. We thank everyone for their participation. Is there a motion to adjourn?